All right, Pat. We have, I think it's 40 years, almost 40 years of Pohlad ownership, starting
80,
with Carl.
84 in I think the sale was announced in June and then it became official in September of 84.
So this will be the 40th season then of
Yeah,
Pohlad ownership coming
yeah,
up.
yes, it
And
will.
we've now passed the baton officially from Jim. Well, Jim Pohlad is still the controlling owner,
Yeah,
but he sent a memo out internally saying that Joe Pohlad, his nephew, who's what, in his like early 40s, I want
I
to
think he
say.
just turned 40. I think he just
Okay.
turned 40. He's been
That
there.
he's going to take over the day-to-day ownership operations of, like, Dave St. Peter isn't going to report to Jim anymore. He's going to report
Yes.
to Joe, for instance. My real
Basically,
quick thought, wait a second, Jim's handing over the day-to-day response. What was Jim doing on a day-to-day basis for the last 10 years?
Dave St. Peter running it, but Jim, Jim's still going to go to the league meetings. Apparently, that's basically he's going to be their vote at the league meetings and things like that. Not the league meetings, the commissioners meetings, but that's it. But the first public view of this was the unveil of the jerseys on the Friday before Thanksgiving. And that's when Joe walked out there with Dave St. Peter after Juice Sutton was out there telling us this was a new era of Twins baseball. They introduced Joe, and I was being told that Joe was going to take over soon, but I didn't know it was going to be this soon. And I don't really know him. Really, I've said hello to him a few times. I don't really know him, but of course, the immediate reaction of all the commenters, at least on the Star Tribune story, was negative, even though they don't know anything about the guy and they don't know if the kid's going to be okay. I shouldn't call him a kid; he's 40.
He looks very young for 40, though. He's done a very good job with skincare and things like that. Yes,
he does. I didn't realize that. I remember him when he wasn't married yet. Now he's got 3 kids already. So he's
busy.
He is. I'm not going to pretend we're like best friends. I've known him just kind of covering the team as a beat writer 10 years ago. He is a really good human being.
Yeah.
And we're about to find out if he can run a baseball franchise.
Yeah.
But he's been involved in like every possible thing the last 10 years.
Wessel gave me a good scouting report as a human being on him. So Dan worked for him over at the failed station, and it was
so did Dex.
Declan, I think didn't Joe Pohlad let Declan go from that station?
Yeah. I got a nice severance package from Joe. So I love Joe. Joe's great. He paid me not to work for him. I was so good. I love that moniker. It's good.
Yeah, but we all gotta hope his success with the Twins is greater than it was in the radio business, where, as I said, they bought it for $26 million and sold it for $4 million. So that was not an FM station. That wasn't an AM station.
That's why they couldn't get you Darvish a few years ago.
They're paying me.
He wants his big push now. He's basically been I didn't know this, but he's been in charge of communications and promotions and those things for about 3 years. He's been trying to modernize the message that they send to the public. He looks and sees the average age of baseball fans is 64 or something and wants to try to do something about that. I don't know if it's possible, but that's he's been pushing that. He was remember back when they hired Falvey, he was in the meetings, right? He was one of the guys. He was Jim, but Joe was there, and Joe was in on the interviews back then. So this has been in the offing for some time, and his dad is Bob, and Bob is a little more of a dynamic guy than Jim is, which isn't a high standard, but that's they kind of almost, what was he, 25-year-old kid when he first started hanging around the organization in some manner. So I think this was in the offing for a long, long time, and good luck to him. I don't think you're going to see him. He said he's going to go in the clubhouse and stuff like that. Suhan had a nice interview with him today, a long interview, and he says he's going to hang around. It's not like he's going to go in and tell him what to do, but I think he wants to see more what the operation is like than Jim was Jim was totally hands off. So it'll be different, and it'll be fine. I think I don't have any problem with it.
Will he dance like Ziggy Wilf after wins in the clubhouse
Or
afterwards?
crowd surf like Fleck,
Yes,
who
some
crowd surfed
surfing.
after the win against the
I
Badgers.
think if you try to crowd surf with the Twins, you'd get dropped. So I don't think it's but let's see it. I see that the original reaction was that everybody was ripping. We ran a picture on an early story of him being interviewed by Suhan and a couple other guys, and they were wearing masks, and people were ripping them for wearing masks. Well, there's a reason for this. He's got young kids, and someone in the group has just been surrounded by COVID. So it's there was, and I know for sure someone in that group, there was like 4 or 5 of them, has dealt with COVID in his close personal family lately. So that was probably the reason that they chose masks. But this shows they're just a bunch of liberal wussies who, that some of the responses were just on Twitter. Just the morons.
Pat, what do you think this means for the organization? So do you think, what does this mean for Dave St. Peter? What does this mean for Falvey Levine? Does it mean anything at all? Does it mean? My guess is it probably means that Falvey and Levine are not in danger of losing their jobs at any point.
I don't think.
I think that they have a good relationship with Joe.
I don't think any point is the right phrase, but I think it would take a couple more lousy years. It would take a couple more, failed years that when they got almost to the 2016 level, where they non-competitive. I think they're, he helped hire him. I think he's all in on Falvey. I would guess. What it means for St. Pete, I don't know. St. Pete's been there a long time. It could be, a couple of years. He might be ready to walk anyway. So I don't know what that would mean. But I got a hunch if Dave St. Peter were to leave, that the title would be, the president might get added to this kid's title.
Okay.
It might not be a dual, it might not be a dual job, but I'm not predicting that in any way. I have no idea. I was told that they have a very good relationship, but by a third source, not either one of them. So,
because this sounds more like, just start off with, Pat, that it would probably be that he's going to be focused on the business side and oversee baseball, but I don't see him coming in and like being a baseball expert. So I would guess that, to your point, this is about trying to cultivate more fans and develop an experience that might get people back to Target Field.
And one thing I would do if I were them, 2 things I'd do if I were them to change the message to fans. One was not to unveil brand new jerseys and then charge $350 for them. That would be one thing I wouldn't do. I wouldn't try to give the first message I wouldn't send to fans is I'm trying to rip you off. And then the other one was lower beer prices by 25%. And you're going to have a lot more happy fans than you are with your new scoreboard and all those things. I'm not anti-new scoreboard. I'm not anti any of the new things that they're doing, but lower beer prices. Don't charge so damn much for beer, and you'll have a lot better message to the public. That's my theory.
I feel like I have to. I know the answer to this. I'm going to ask it anyways because I think a lot of fans are curious. Like Jim Pohlad was the embodiment of the cheap Pohlads. I mean, Carl ultimately was, but even like moved to Target Field and they're still penny pinching. Like Jim was that figurehead. Does Joe change that at all?
Well,
will they spend more money with Joe?
They're not going to spend more money than they did this year. They're not going to spend more than bringing in a guy for $36 million. I mean, that's the cheap Pohlad image wasn't too strong this year. It wasn't cheapness that
I agree.
The collapse this year, and then the first year of Billy Smith basically did get. I mean, they had a terrible year and they went in the tank, but Billy whined too much about not, believe it or not, cheap Billy whined too much about wanting to spend more money. And, right when they first came in at the Target Field, they had their all-time record payroll, right? So,
Yeah.
And they went and got Delman, and we thought, wow, they got a hitter like Delman, and they gave Joe all that money, and it backfired on them. But I don't, once again, it's going to be, who got signed yesterday that, wow, we might be in on him. And he just got signed.
We just missed him.
Well, Clevenger.
Clevenger went to the Sox. Abreu went to the
Abreu.
Astros.
Yeah. And that was, and then it became a big debate. Do we really want an old hitter like Abreu? Not a problem. He went to Houston. Boom. So
yeah, that got taken care of, Pat.
I think we gotta. What I would do instead of letting this information leak out about who they're trying to get, that's high profile, as though the Doogie. They got to tell Doogie to stop telling us who they're trying to get, right? Because they never get them if they're important, if they're really a big guy. And what incentive beyond money is there to come here for a hotshot pitcher? You have to come here and pitch outside and freeze your ass off till May 15th, and then go, and then do the same thing in September. And if you got a big ballpark, that helps. And if you're a hitter, if you're Correa, he's not coming back here. He didn't want to try to hit it out the right center field in this damn place. It's there's the incentive to come here and play outside in April, half of May, and September is not very strong. So if they have other options, they're going to take them. But so don't leak out this information about, we don't want him, or going after.
So do you think Carlos Correa is just respectfully breaking up with us?
Yes.
Or so, because Lavelle reported, I think it was on Suhan's podcast, he reported, or it's phrased on MLB Trade Rumors as he suggested the Twins have put forth different offers to Correa of varying lengths. Like they have a proposal out. Doogie did too. Okay,
yes, he said the exact.
So they've
same
got
thing.
a bunch. They've got multiple offers out to him.
Well, they've made offers to him, yes, but first of all, you want to wait till February 27th, because that's what's going to happen with Boris. Boris is going to keep pumping the pedal to get it as high as he wants to. The number one goal is to get more money than any shortstop ever. Okay. Now when they signed him this time, the annual number had to be higher, the highest ever for a shortstop. That's how it got to be 36, because I think 35 was the highest. And it was very important to Boris and apparently Carlos to get the highest annual number. So it's going to be really hard to get a decision to him until Boris has gone through every other option to get the most. The only goal here with Carlos and Boris is to get the most money ever for a infielder.
But his wife likes it here, Pat.
Huh?
Don't forget, Mrs. Correa loved it here.
Oh, I'm sure.
She loved the area.
There's about 17 other cities I think she could grow
the
to
Dior
love.
store here.
Right.
The Dior store here. She said it was fantastic.
Where do we have a Dior store like in the Mall of America?
I think MOA.
There's a Dior store there.
Yep, I believe so.
Does Nordstrom's, like Nordstrom's has a classy floor somewhere, right?
Okay.
Yeah, they got the rack. They got a couple things. There.
Don't get me
I
started.
don't think the rack is where Carlos Correa.
Yeah,
Don't get me started on Nordstrom's. I stopped out there to get shoes the other day, and they don't have half sizes anymore. What the hell? Let's go. Plus,
No, it's a way. No, there's too many. You don't need half sizes. Just
Royce here for Nordstrom's. When I need shoes, I go to Nordstrom's.
And I got a short, fat foot. And they've always been able to fit me. I always go to Nordstrom's for one pair of shoes.
What happened? So they just stopped?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're like everybody else. They're just cutting down on their stock. I don't want to badmouth Nordstrom's. it's fine.
Especially if Nordstrom's wants to eventually be the presenting sponsor of these Rap with Royce segments here.
Yes, that could
We'll
happen.
find Royce some half sizes.
Let's just say this. I was disappointed for the first time in my life going to Nordstrom's
Well put.
for a pair of shoes. First time I was disappointed ever. I want these nice dark brown loafers.
Oh,
We only have the light brown loafers. I don't want light brown loafers. I want dark brown loafers, and I want this size. Where the hell are they? And they don't have them. So first time ever. They
I think
didn't have one.
loafers is a word we need to keep the word loafers alive.
I love loafers.
What was wrong with loafers as a word? Nothing wrong with loafers, but they.
It sounds old to generations like mine and Declan.
It is old.
it's not old. It's a throwback. Embrace the throwback.
When I think of
You
loafers,
guys
I
love
think of Dark Star wearing loafers.
Yeah.
4-year-old guys in there, and I said I need a pair of loafers, and they did look at me like I was, senile.
Loafers.
But,
Where's your loafers?
fine word. What else? What is the other word? Slip-ons. What's the
Yeah.
other? Yeah. What's
Sneakers.
It's a word like snazzy.
What
Where'd
counts-
snazzy go?
What counts is give me my shoe in my color and my size, and you can charge me $200. I don't care. I want to go leave in the shoe I want, and you don't have it. So the hell with it.
Some snazzy loafers.
Snazzy loafers. Snazzy slacks. You need slacks, loafers.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, what the hell?
Anyhow.
Who had the misfortune? This Gopher basketball team is incredibly horsebleep. I think they could lose them all in the Big Ten. I think they could go 1-19. The guard they got for Moorhead State, he likes to shoot, but he can't shoot.
Yeah.
And he can't pass.
Problematic.
He doesn't get any assists. Peyton Willis, he'd drive to the basket and throw it off. Now he was 32 years old, but he'd drive around and throw it. They were way better last year. Way better. They knew what they were doing. These guys don't have any idea. And Dawson Garcia, whoo, that's it, huh? Is this it? Is this what we were so excited about? Wow. Battle.
Be careful, Pat. You are already gone to war with the Gopher holers on football. Now you're going to go to war with them on basketball.
I checked them this morning to see how they were taking the loss, and there were some big analyses on there, blah, blah, blah. And then some guy down there at the bottom said, I know what's wrong. They are not good. And that was the best. The tip-off was Will Ramberg, the Grand Forks, the Grand Marais kid who went to McGill University in Montreal. I wrote a piece on him last year when he played like 15 minutes in one game because somebody was hurt. He started when the season started. He was starting when the season started. It's why do they start Trayton Thompson and play him for 3 minutes and then he doesn't play again the rest of the game? Anybody figure that one out yet?
I think I've watched fewer minutes than 3 of the Gopher basketball teams so far this year. It was on at Park Tavern yesterday, so we did.
I watched a lot last night for some reason.
Oh man!
To avoid watching the Timberwolves, I guess, and it was God. And then I was mesmerized by how rotten they were, right? So I couldn't change channels. It was like
it was so bad it was good.
This is it. Wow, it's bad.
On the football side, I didn't know that PJ Fleck had the Jerry Kill sort of woe is me thing in him like that. I was impressed by the. Jerry used to do maybe I'm just not that good of a coach. Maybe I should just quit.
Judd and I talked about that the Kent State game when he got the crowd kind of booed him at halftime, right? And then
maybe I'll just hang it up.
Yeah, and he said, yeah, Jerry was super sensitive. I thought that I said this to Judd yesterday that this is as close to honest as he's been after a game. He and Heather were hurt by the. Where they found the suggestions he should be fired, I don't know, but apparently she saw one or something. So
some commenters on Instagram or something. No one wants him fired.
Long term, that's a great game for them because they found out that it's okay to throw a pass with this kid as the quarterback, and he's an athlete, and we already know that they will be upgraded at quarterback over what they've been for the 3 years since 2019.
Yeah.
Tanner Morgan was bad in 2020. He was bad in 2021, and he wasn't all that good this year. So they're going to be upgraded at quarterback next year, which helps you be more competitive than a lot of people thought they were going to be. They should be, they should be a little. They have a tougher schedule, but they should be a little more explosive offensively next year with this kid playing quarterback. So
Yeah,
I did say they should bring in the original latest feud with Gopher Hole came when they chided me for saying they should bring in a transfer to compete with him and make him win the job. In retrospect, because of the way he played at Wisconsin. And then that's when I took my shot at the cowardly coach for losing the Iowa game and not giving this kid a chance to do that. And then all hell broke loose. So
yeah, the Gopher Holers, I stepped in it as well by so the official Gopher sports account found a screenshot of the game day panel all picking Wisconsin basically. And the Gopher Sports account tweeted like, hey, at game day, you up? Trying to like throw it back in game day's face. And I just simply sent out a tweet that said, enjoy the Wisconsin win. It's a nice win. Let's not get cocky here. Okay. Well, you're saying we can't celebrate a win? No. Saying a little self-awareness, programmed self-awareness could go a long way here.
Fine hire by Wisconsin, I'd say. Luke Fickell.
Yeah. Luke Fickell. Matt Rule and Luke Fickell joining the division here.
I think Fickell has got I think he's a good recruiter, and he's got a chance. The other guy, Matt Rule, is going to keep Nebraska right where they are. He's come and gone as a hot ticket. He was at Baylor. He got, at Baylor, you can get athletes no matter what they cost. And, down there, you can do anything you want, and he won a couple of games, and then he was so stupid he went and took the NFL money. And he does nothing for me. I think he'll keep Nebraska right where they are.
Yeah,
so,
we will find out. We will find out.
We
All right, Pat. Good catching up.
I had one more big thought, but I can't remember what it was. But if anybody sees a nice pair of size 10 dark brown loafers, tell me where to go get them, because Nordstrom's doesn't have them.
Yeah, tweet pictures of your loafers, of your snazzy loafers. Show us your loafers.
I get my loafers, I'll tweet out pictures. Remember when I had my new sneakers and I was on Twitter about 6 years ago? And I was taking them to various places. That was fun. Okay. See you.
Are those sneakers still around?
Yes, they're still downstairs. I don't wear them very often.
Oh,
hey, we got snow. How about that? We got some snow.
Yeah,
let's go. Let's all just be safe. 10-2, everyone. 10-2.
Okay,
all right, see you, Pat. All right, let's wrap it with Royce, Mackey, and Judd, Score North YouTube.